So the Misfits Qatar Super Cutter? What the fuck? Why? All right. Yeah, the Misfits Cutter Super Card. You see, that just doesn't sound right. We're going to keep it rolling. I'm going to pronounce it the way I want to pronounce it. The Cater Super, probably not that either. The Qatar Super Card gives me retro Misfits Influencer Super Card vibes. The last card of this magnitude, which was a little bit bigger, was that Prime card where Logan Paul faced off against Dylan Dennis. And we saw a bunch of other big names fighting that night. This is what some people are saying is the resurgence of influencer boxing. We've got Gib versus Slim here, Salt Poppy, King Kenny, Jay Swigler, Nick Lamau 2, Jarvis Ben Williams, and the return of Deji. This is, as of recording, the only promotional poster we have for the event. We know it's taking place November 28th. This is fun, man. I mean, I enjoy cards like this. I think, for me, and it's something that we've almost beat to death on this channel, is the idea of influencer boxing kind of losing steam, right? And having trouble bringing new names into the fold. Because what do you got to do? You got to get someone that's going to be able to grow their name organically, or you have someone that you're going to bring in. They're already going to be an influencer or a celebrity. They're probably not going to try that hard at boxing. You might get guys with smaller audiences, I'd imagine, that are going to fight harder but are less of a name. Because again, it's something that's interesting. It's something that's unique in influencer boxing is the influencer part, right? You have people that already have their own pre-built audiences brought in, which can be a good thing and I feel like a bad thing. You don't want to run the risk of something seeming too gimmicky. You also don't want to run the risk of having a card like this where the star power of one of these guys each is going to go down a little bit after a loss. So you got to kind of find that middle ground, and I think that this is a pretty decent attempt at these guys making a card that's, I'm not going to say middle of the road, but doesn't have the star power of a KSI main event. But also, I mean, listen, Gib versus Slim as a main event is very fun. This is a fun card for what it is, and I think that you're going to be able to, if you're Misfits, kind of have some guys fight on the undercard here that are going to get a lot of visibility. You don't have to worry about all of your big names potentially losing on one night or something happening like it did with the KSI and Joe Fournier fight. You can kind of just have this night of fun, right? Gib is always going to be an entertaining fight. Same with Slim. He looked fantastic his last time out. Same with Salt Poppy. Same with King Kenny, right? All these guys, it makes sense for them to be here. And this is a kind of perfectly constructed card. Listen, if I'm KSI and I'm Mams Taylor, that's what I'm going for. You fill this card up with quality fights that also come with audiences being brought in. I think influencer boxing, as of this recording, has much more of kind of a niche audience, but you want to be able to ideally bring someone in that maybe has closer to like 15 to 20K, so like a smaller creator, and build them up to the level of a KSI in the boxing space. I'm not just saying in pop culture. Cards like this could be a perfect avenue to do it. It brings you back, at least it brings me back to the days of KSI fighting consistently, of Logan Paul, and some of those fights were bullshit exhibition stuff, but this gives me retro influencer boxing is back type of vibes. Again, I won't be too hasty in saying that it's necessarily back just yet. This is one good card we don't know if people have yet to pull out. Anything could happen in the lead up to this one because it is in about a month now. So anything could happen, but on paper, this card looks to be Misfits trying to jumpstart the car that is influencer boxing. We'll see if it takes. If this does well, you have different options again with the talent that you showcase on the undercard. You can make different fights even with these fights here if you mix and match them. So this could potentially, I think, open up a lot of doors for the space, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't doubt also, another thing I really like about this card is I don't doubt that we're going to see high-level stuff from Gibbs, Slim, from Salt Poppy, King Kenny. We're going to see some quality fights that also have a lot of build-up and a lot of stakes on the line. And I don't know if it's going to be necessarily competing with any other events that take place that night. That's another thing that we have to take into account. If there's a big UFC pay-per-view that day, that could put the card in some risk. Considering there's nothing else going on, or maybe a low-level Apex card, a PFL card, this could do some numbers, I think. Especially in Qatar. I'm surprised that Misfits was able to lock something down like that. And it's no disrespect to Misfits, but I'm accustomed to them doing smaller arenas now. I'll have to see the size of the venue they're doing in Qatar, because maybe it's a smaller, soccer stadium. I'm not sure, but to go from what they're doing now to Qatar with a card this size, I think is awesome. I got a little bit worried too, because I saw DAZN was kind of dipping their toes into the BKFC pool. They threw the broadcast for the Marbella card, and I thought for sure that was going to kind of take Misfits Misfits place, but maybe they're back. I don't know. Then that's kind of like what interests me about this card. I want to see what's going to happen. It's one of those classic ones where from pillar to post, you're going to be paying attention. And I'm sure we're going to see many more high level and interesting matchups on the way. But without further ado, guys, it's been your boy, the combat consultant, the soundboard god, Jacob Cooperman. And I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.